So, I'm here talking with George Leonard, who used to be a liberal, screaming liberal? Trendy liberal, and he woke up after the Obama election, the first campaign. So, he's going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the rise of the American police state also. So, you woke up after Obama was elected the first time?
Yes. During the Bush administration, I pretty much hated him with a passion. And so, like most people, I was brainwashed into voting for Obama. And a couple months into his administration, I realized that he was following exactly the same policies as Bush. Especially the confirmation for me was the whole bailout thing. And because at the very end of the Bush administration, he was sending out the bailout checks. And Obama continued that, and that really got me to wonder what was happening. And so I started doing my own research into it, and quickly found out and realized that he's no different.
So that's what woke you up then, was the bailout originally?
Yes, it pretty much shattered my whole left-right paradigm illusion at that point.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we're definitely seeing like a convention in society, moving everyone more from a guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around. And we have spy tech being built into everything, facial recognition software, we've got robotic systems being put into place in airports and subway stations to monitor and track people. We've got 30,000 drones in the skies. We've got security rollout like at NATO, the Chicago NATO summit recently. And it really seems like America is becoming just a total police state. Why don't you think the public is more concerned about what's going on?
I think 9/11 did exactly what it was meant to, and that is keep people in fear and convince them that giving up their rights for security is patriotic, when, as I believe it was Ben Franklin said, giving up liberties for security means you get nor deserve neither.
Yep.
And yeah, I think 9/11, well, I mean, it goes back 50, even 100 years ago, but after 9/11, you can really see that these last 10 years has been a process of totally eroding this country.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit, because the Washington Post and ABC have done polls that have shown that Democrats, and not just liberal Democrats, but even the conservative Democrats, are overwhelmingly in favor of supporting Obama keeping Guantanamo Bay open. And these are the same people who were fighting that vehemently when George W. Bush did it. So,
as I was.
What is the disconnect there?
I believe that's cognitive dissonance. People have been pretty much engineered, the way society is structured, to stick to the party line. And, Democrats will just ignore the fact that Obama's continuing everything that Bush did and more, just because he's a Democrat, just because he says he's liberal.
Yes, this same poll actually showed that 83% of Americans are in favor of Obama's drone policy, sending weaponized drones into other countries and shooting down militants based on a kill list. Even though these strikes have been continuing week after week to target and accidentally kill innocent women and children. And I'm confused how people can reconcile those two things.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Most people just don't even care, really, and it's sad, and they just follow their daily rituals, and they don't really even care.
Well,
I don't know.
We've got those drones coming here, not necessarily weaponized yet, but we do have the approval of 30,000 drones in American skies, and it's come out now recently that the Air Force is sharing data they've collected through these drones with local and state and federal law enforcement. you've got a blending of the lines there without a requirement. It kind of goes around the requirement for a search warrant. They're also flying drones over public places and recording domestic situations. And I mean, shouldn't people be even slightly concerned with the privacy issues and the unconstitutionality of that?
Well, I think the people that even care a little bit about political situations and what's happening, most of them, although not so much now, but most of them get their information from the mainstream media, and they've done a very good job of keeping people on the mushroom method in the dark and fed bull.
I've never heard that. Well, I guess the point that I'm getting at is we've got weaponized drones going into other countries, killing suspected militants based on some kind of, I guess, data that they are collecting, they're basing it on. We're not seeing any of that. There's no due process in these attacks. And then we have all of these drones here that are supposedly just going to surveil us, that the majority of people believe are not going to be weaponized. What is it that's keeping people from honestly believing that we're going to have weaponized drones going everywhere else and somehow magically they're not going to be here in America? I mean, with the passage of the NDAA, you think people would be a little bit concerned about those two things not matching up with each other?
Well, again, the mainstream media doesn't cover it, and for me, the NDAA is probably the biggest confirmation yet that we live in a tyranny. And, you know, when the president acts like a dictator and says he can bomb and kill whoever he wants and detain American citizens without trial or without facing their accuser, it's really sad, and more people should be aware of it. But most people are on fluoride and antidepressants, and all the chemicals and stuff that are in our food have worked wonders, and they've kept people pretty docile.
Well, okay, I want to switch gears really quick and get your take on the FEMA camp situation. Because it can no longer really be denied that those exist. It used to be, if you mentioned that, you were a conspiracy theorist. Now, it's almost like common knowledge. Most people are aware of the concept, at least. But it seems like I've seen a trend on chat threads and different article comment threads that I've seen where people believe that FEMA camps are not going to be anything more than a short-term solution for a small public disruption, and they're really not anything that we should be concerned about. I don't know.
Yeah, and that really goes back to Reagan and Rex 84, and that's pretty much been their excuse all along, that the camps are just merely for disaster relief, for helping out, you know, in troubled times. And most people buy that. They think that the government's there to protect them, and the government can do no wrong, and everything's great.
I've heard about the document that came out, Army document that outlining internment and re-education. It did mention prisoners, it mentioned their social security, PSYOP officers re-educating activists to have an appreciation of U.S. policy. That kind of shatters the illusion, right, that these are just temporary little things we're going to go to for a couple of days when there's like an earthquake or something.
Yeah, when a document like that leaks and that gets out in the open, there's really no denying it. But yet they still maintain their illusory excuse for all this and just say, well.
I mean, you've got the DHS buying 450 million rounds of Howard-type bullets, and those are not okay underneath the Geneva Convention. But even still, it doesn't matter. DHS is domestic in the operation. So,
yeah,
that's enough bullets. I think somebody did the math and said for 1.5 shots at every day with a child in the country.
Yeah, I think that's enough to have a 7-year civil war in this country, which should be even more confirmation that we're in deep trouble and that something needs to be done. And we have to realize that the government is getting ready Yeah, they've got something up their sleeve, and it's just a shame that mainstream media doesn't do their job. They're supposed to be the fourth branch of government, keep us informed, and they really haven't done any of that since the 1947 National Security Act. Is really when it started all going downhill. And it's funny, they used to say that the NSA didn't exist. That was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah?
And now they at least admit that the NSA is real.
Well, it seems like everything is real lately. Like everything's just coming out in your face now. I saw an article the other day about chemtrails now. They're openly calling for that now. If it hasn't already been going on. I mean, it really seems like it's more and more just right up in our face.
Yeah, the curtain is lifting, and we can see the ankles, and eventually we'll see the head, and it will all be out in the open, and everybody will have no excuse. Hopefully, as more of this progresses, more people will wake up, which is what I'm seeing. Especially since Obama has been elected, people like me who used to think along party lines have begun to see that something is desperately wrong here.
Well, I guess that kind of ties into my last question. We've got all of this economic turmoil going on. We've got Greece, we've got Spain having runs on the banks, supposedly begging for billions in bailouts. A lot of European countries are in a lot of bad spots, and America's obviously having serious economic issues. Last May, the job report was way down, and markets took a tumble. I mean, we've got problems, and I guess I'm just curious what your thoughts are on where all this is headed, even just in the rest of 2012.
Economically. It's all fraud for once. Under Clinton, they got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act, which allowed the banks in Wall Street to have these financial instruments, which basically just make a casino for derivatives and credit default swaps and all this nonsense. Just to run up this enormous debt. I think in the end, the program that they're following is to create global chaos so that they can get their order.
The derivatives market is actually 20 times the global GDP now. And the regulations on it are ridiculous. They're very, very unregulated.
I think 647 trillion is the last number I saw. That's just the United States' share of the debt. And got to get these bankster rats out of there in the Fed.
Well, I mean, how do you think that's going to come down if we were to have an economic collapse here in Canada? You've got a situation where I think I read it's 96 and 98% of the population rely on the other 2 to 4% of food. Farmers. I mean, it's not like the Great Depression when people were a lot more self-sustaining, had their own land, and did a lot of their own farming. We don't have that now. And I think it seems to me like anytime you hear about preppers, those people are considered kind of crazy. That's looked down upon in the media.
Yeah, they're no jobs.
And so you've got a large population that's woefully unprepared should something like that come down the pike. What do you see happening there with people here in America if that were to happen?
Well, it's a scary thought, but I think it's all fear, and those who are paying attention need not be afraid. I think eventually in the end we will get through this, but it is going to be quite a struggle, probably for at least a couple years. And if the economy crashes, which is going to happen for sure, it's not going to be pretty. But I just think people should remain calm and focus on the fact that the capstone can only sit up there, and when we stop participating in our own enslavement, the capstone will fall.
Thank you for letting me interview you today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.